This Week in Startups is brought to you by Salesforce for Startups, a global program providing startups with access to the Salesforce technology, tools, and expertise needed to become thriving, customer, and community-focused companies. Join Salesforce for Startups today, startups.salesforce.com.
Hey everybody, welcome to a very exciting episode of This Week in Startups. We're doing something new here. It's called a jam session. And we're going to be doing a jam session on customer management. Managing your customers, getting them happy, making them delighted with your product, making money from them, getting product ideas for them. Basically, how to covet and cherish your customers. A jam session is something that we actually do here in San Francisco every other Friday. We do 26 of them a year, where I bring together my portfolio companies and we jam out on a topic. We try to level up, get better, and be better than our competitors. Life's a zero-sum game. If you have these special techniques, you can do better than your competitors. A lot of people like to believe, oh my God, everybody's going to do great. It's just simply not true. There are specific techniques and tactics that are being developed that'll make your company do better than your competitors. And what I try to do for the 150 companies that I've invested in is give them a competitive advantage in the world by sharing knowledge. Today, we're going to open up the door a little bit and take you inside our incubator and show you what we do at a jam session. So first up is Jill Bourque. She runs a company called RushTix, which I am an investor in and which went through our incubator. And she's going to talk about something that is incredibly important for startups. And it's called Net Promoter Score, NPS. So I'm not going to belabor the point here. Jill's an amazing entrepreneur, and she is going to explain, welcome to the program, and explain to our audience what NPS is and how you deploy it at RushTix.
All right, I'll just go through my slides. Here's one of the things that we believe that you will you need to find your people. Basically, your vibe attracts your tribe. And NPS is a great way to find out if your customers are happy. Are they vibing with you? Are they satisfied? So NPS is a score that that basically ask your customer, like, how likely would you tell your friends about our product from a score of 0 to 10. A 9 and 10 is considered a promoter. That's someone they're in your tribe. They love what you're doing. Passives are 7s and 8s, and they're kind of in between. They're not sure. And then your detractors are 0 to 6. So at RushTix, what we do is we really try to hone in on promoters and understand, why do they love us so much? How can we get more of them? Just a little bit more about the measurement. Here's the common phrase: how likely is it that you would recommend our company, product, service to a friend or colleague? And Net Promoter Scores are aggregated from the numbers, and they can go from anywhere to negative 100 to a positive 100. Here's some examples this was a small business survey of some good NPS scores. So you're not going to get 100, although Tesla is like 97, but usually like a very good score is in the 70s. Here's some, WordPress, MailChimp, these are all good scores. Here's some not so good scores in the negatives. Some of these are kind of obvious. Comcast, everyone hates Comcast. So, when you get these super customers, as we call them, these are the ones that love you. Like, you need to find out, who are they? Why do they love you so much? And try to ascertain. And what we do is we try to find feedback loops. So in my opinion, feedback has to be done the right way, or it becomes very needy. So it needs to be sort of like part of the natural process, like before, like pre-activated customers, just simple questions. We've found that if we get too much involved or come across, asking too many questions, that turns them off and it actually lowers conversion. So we try to make it a natural part of it. And then in the onboarding process, we also try to ask specific questions rather than open-ended questions. Sometimes open-ended questions are good, but people don't know how to answer them. So we try to ask very specific things in the onboarding, like, how did you like, this particular thing, rather than, just give us your ideas, because they won't answer. And then triggered feedback, which is for us, like after they have attended an event, how did you like it? And then we kind of keep those triggered ones. And then if someone churns, after, that's probably the most important bit of information is, why did someone go away? And a lot of people will tell you very frankly, and that's the best information you can get. You probably get better information from people that don't like your product than that do. And then, the feedback stack. Like, what's your stack for gaining this information? Obviously, email is the most important. Like, you need to be in email communication. I am a huge fan of intercom. I use it a lot. I think a lot of companies that are doing really great things in Delightification use intercom, and I'll just show you a screen of how we use it. Real simple example. I mean, intercom is extensive, but just my screen every day. I'm on this all the time. I can see exactly who's on the site, the last time they were there, the web sessions, and what's cool is there's this app called Ask Nicely, which is an NPS app that integrates right into intercom. So I can see their NPS score and I can kind of know, oh yeah, they're one of our satisfied customers. So I really like intercom. And then this is an Ask Nicely email that comes in every time, like once a week, it will tell you like where your NPS is, and it's really great because not just getting the score, but understanding why they like it is crucial, because then you're understanding what it is that they're engaging with. And then what's really great is you can use these responses for your creative. For example, several of our members had said, now I felt like the hero, like for date night with my wife, my girlfriend, or my boyfriend, I felt like the hero. So we did a series of campaigns that were about being the date night hero, and we had a 55% higher engagement than in messages that were not like as specific. So it's great for that. So that pretty much wraps it up. If you make your customers' dreams come true, yours will too. That's our motto, and we are just focused on Delightification. I just wanted to add that if you, just a special for Twist, we have a 2-week free trial, no credit card. Just go on to rushtix.com/twist and you can take advantage of that.
Great. As a consummate entrepreneur, getting that plug in and trying to acquire some customers, very smart, wearing the ticket. I love that about you, that you live the brand. So Net Promoter Score helps you understand which people are detractors, which people are advocates and promoters of your product, and then which people are indifferent. We get the idea of what you do with people who are promoters because, gosh, you covet them and you want to interact with them a lot more. Let me ask you 2 questions. How do you deal with people who are indifferent, the 7 and 8 scores? And then what do you do with the people who are detractors, 6 and below? What is your strategy for dealing with those 2 categories of people, Jill?
So I find the most difficult are the passives. Because haters actually give us great information. They're really specific. They'll say like...
What's an example of that?
Well, in our early days, it was like, I don't like what's on the site. You don't have enough good stuff. So we were like, all right, we're going to change that. And
the inventory on the site.
Yeah, the inventory.
And so people know, we didn't actually explain what RushTix is, but it's basically Netflix for the real world.
Yeah, I should start with that.
You subscribe. It's okay. I'm good at describing it. It's Netflix for the real world here in San Francisco. You can pay a monthly fee and get tickets. Unlimited, just like you can get unlimited DVDs, or you could from Netflix. And so if somebody is indifferent in that situation, or if they're haters, they would just say, I don't like the inventory.
Right, like I don't like this, I didn't like the event, or I had a bad experience, or I didn't understand. And that's fixable. I actually relish, if someone hates it and and a lot of times the haters will give extensive, they want to be heard. And that's great. And we've been able to transform haters into lovers. So that's a great thing. The passives are more difficult because they don't hate, but they don't love. And it's sometimes more difficult to convert that than someone who you fix their problem, because it's not always clear why they're not 100% on board. And I think it has to do with that and they don't usually go away because they like it enough to stay, but they're not promoting you, which is, it's tricky because they're feeling like, I like it enough for me, but not enough to tell my friend. And so I found that to be a little more tricky.
Interesting. But with the example you gave of Tesla having an extraordinarily high score, people who have a Tesla, just like people who used to have a Prius, I think Prius probably had a very high Net Promoter Score during its day, they can't shut up about it. Right. They tell everybody they meet, oh my God, you have to get a Tesla. Oh my God, you have to try this driving. It's so fast. It's so amazing. They won't shut up about it. And the indifferent people, you're saying, are just, it's hard to know what to do with them. Because it's not like they're going to tell you, like the haters, the 6 and below on NPS, they're going to tell you this sucks because of these reasons. At least it gives you an agenda of what to work on. Those 7 and 8s they just quietly sit there and drive whatever car it is that is not worthy of telling your friends about. Sort of like if you owned like a Sebring or something. You're like, I'm not exactly, I don't hate this car, but I'm certainly not telling anybody I'm rocking a Sebring. All right, let me ask my other founders here if they have a question. Mei, it looks like you have a question.
Yeah, I do have
Let's hear it.
I'm curious, based on your experience, have you figured out when is the best time to ask the NPS survey? Is it like, should they have been onboarded? Because if they just knew, they just came to the site.
This is a great question, and that's Mei Siauw, who is going to speak third, and she is with LeadIQ. You're going to speak in a minute about your rules for customer service. So to Mei's question,
3 months in for us, and it depends on each product what that life cycle looks like. But we do 3 months, and then we do every 6 months.
3 months every 6 months. What about doing it after every transaction? I know I was using AngelList, and we were syndicating deals on AngelList, and after every single syndicate is completed, they send the syndicate lead an NPS score. How likely are you 1 to 10? I thought that was 0 to 10. I thought that was like after every transaction. Did you consider sending it every time they go to an event, or does it feel like it's too much?
Well, we're actually implementing ratings and reviews for events, which is going to sort of do that, because that helps the presenter as well know like what their event is like and who's attending. So we are incorporating that on that level.
That would be something you could give to your partners. Fantastic. Okay, well, this was amazing. Thank you so much, Jill Bourque of RushTix, which is only available in the Bay Area right now. But hey, who knows? If you figure it out here, and you've got like this nice core group of 9s and 10s, if you figure out how to scale it, maybe Los Angeles, New York, who knows?
Yep, Los Angeles is next on the list.
Los Angeles is next. Why is that? Why is Los Angeles next? I'm just curious. I mean, I know it's just south of us. It's only a 1-hour flight, so you can go down there. And
so proximity, and also just a good amount of arts and culture to population, millennials.
Yeah, it is a pretty dense group of people doing a lot of activities. Okay, great. Yes. Salesforce for Startups. Since launch, 6,000 entrepreneurs have joined across 130,000 countries. They educate startups on the Salesforce platform, and they provide a ton of resources at Salesforce for Startups, like development resources on the Salesforce platform, 2 free licenses to Desk.com for customer service, a 30% discount off Pardot for marketing automation and CRM solutions for both Sales Cloud and Salesforce IQ. Other benefits include exposure through customer stories and events, content from the community of Salesforce customers, partners, execs, and subject matter experts like the SaaS Startup Founders Guide. Their customers include Automatic, Go Squared, OneMob, and Dennis Tan, the co-founder of the Amsterdam-based image search startup Dashmote, says, challenging the startup status quo is not possible without a customer-centric focus. Salesforce for Startups program offers us access to industry-leading technology and resources that enable us to cater to each client effectively and scale quickly as we grow our customer base. So go ahead and join Salesforce for Startups today. Startups.salesforce.com. 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 Thanks again to our friends from Salesforce for making independent media like This Week in Startups and all the good that we do for startups by sharing these stories for 600 plus episodes. Man, Salesforce has been with us since the beginning, and they told me that we're partners for life. I really appreciate it. What a great, great organization. And also, just as a total aside, I had, 2 wonderful kids this year. We had twins, and we went, and Mark Benioff built this incredible hospital here in San Francisco. What a mensch. My hat's off to you, Mark, for building that amazing, amazing pregnancy kids hospital for women. It's just amazing here in San Francisco what you've done for the community, Mark Benioff. My hat's off to you, just founder to founder. And when I say founder to founder, I mean like tremendously successful founder to modestly successful founder, me. All right. Let's get back to this amazing program. Thanks again, Salesforce. Okay, next up is David Hassell of 15Five, who's going to talk about who in your organization, a startup typically, should do customer success. Or is that just a fancy word for customer support?
We actually distinguish the two.
how do you distinguish customer support from customer success?
So we actually have a dedicated support person who responds to like requests that come in, but the success reps are actually responsible for ensuring that customers are successful, not even just with the product, but literally successful in their lives where our product plays a role in that. So 15.5 is a management platform that helps CEOs stay in touch with their team, know what's going on throughout their companies on a weekly basis. And when we started the company about 5 years ago, we understood that customer success was going to be critical for us to build the kind of company we wanted, to build the kind of loyalty we wanted. We baked in this right into our DNA. We created a core value called commit to customer success and delight. And kind of two-part thing. The customer success piece was about, like I said, making customers successful in their businesses where our product plays a role, not just successful with our product. And the delight part, about really wowing people, giving them these positive emotional experiences where they have an affinity for our brand. They really feel connected to us. And so I'll talk about some tips and whatnot, but more important than that is really getting the right people with the right mindset, because every customer interaction you have is with a human being, right? And their energy and their authenticity will leave some impression or not. So we're really focused on hiring the right people, right? So people who are generally people-oriented, and then giving the right kind of mindset and training. Starts with that principle of commit to customer success and delight. So they are focused on that. And we actually have them all read this book by Patrick Lencioni called Getting Naked. And it talks about these 3 fears that business owners typically have about if they're authentic and if they, if they're vulnerable, they're afraid they're going to lose the business. And so it gets our people thinking like, really, they should just be focused on being themselves, like really caring about the customer, even if it means we don't have all the answers. And through that, we actually develop a much tighter bond and affinity with our customers. So those 2 things, the principle of customer success and delight, being really truly authentic, having people who naturally are themselves. As Jill talked about in a promoter score, we scored historically in the 60s, which is very solid. And when I talk to customers, I had a call with a customer yesterday, and he actually referenced the customer success person by name who onboarded them 18 months ago. And it happens all the time. People remember our people because we've really formed these bonds with them because we're really care about them and we connect authentically. So here's a few things how we do that tactically. We do use intercom, and we do these auto messages. So 45 days into being a new customer, we get a happy 2-month anniversary email that goes out on intercom and says, "Are you in love with 15.5 yet?" Simple question. We get great responses, and it either comes back like, "Yeah, you guys are rocking it," or they come back and say, "Yeah, but there's a glitch here or there," and it gives us an opportunity to dive in and figure out, where can we be doing better, and to do that early enough on that we can make an impact, because we really believe that first 100 days is critical to the lifetime of the account. This is about halfway through. It's kind of like, a lot of companies put all this energy into closing the deal and then they disappear. We see the first 100 days kind of like the follow through on a tennis swing or a golf swing. It's like really carrying that through. In addition, we do an email to every user, not just the account owners, on their 1-year anniversary of 15.5, just saying thanks for being with us for a year. And we get all sorts of great responses. It's kind of a surprising thing. It's an unexpected touch point. And I think that's the key with the delight piece is, the more you can create these unexpected touch points where, there's something like, oh, wow, they're thinking about me, or they care about me, or there's something going on, the more you kind of move people into that promoter camp that Jill was talking about with NPS. We try to personalize everything. So if we're working with a customer who has a new initiative and needs some coaching, our team will actually do these video screen capture records where they'll actually walk through the product explaining how to do it, and it's personalized to that customer, and send them a link to the video. This is Priscilla on our team doing that. One other thing we do is kind of surprise swag. One of the things in that 2-month anniversary note, you might have noticed at the end it said, "P.S. What's your shirt size and your address?" And so we're collecting that information at that point, and then we always have it. So we find out someone's had a baby, or we find out someone's had a special anniversary or something through our interactions with them. We'll send them a handwritten note with really great quality T-shirts or baby shirts or whatnot. I think the quality really matters if people are going to wear this stuff. And these are really handwritten notes. It's not like a service that we send it off to, because I think in this kind of age of faked authenticity, people can see through that. We make it super easy. Luckily, we have people on our team who love doing this because that's the type of people they are. And then we use ship to come on by, like just in the moment. Every day, there's maybe one or two that go out. We push the button on ship, person shows up, and off it goes. So it's just, you can really institutionalize that as a practice and always be, creating these touch points. The last point, the last tip is this concept of hug your haters. Jill touched on this as well. I think a lot of people, obviously you put your attention on your promoters, but a lot of people will ignore the feedback from the detractors. And we take the detractor email, and feedback very seriously. We use a net promoter score tool called Wootrick that captures data in-app. And anytime someone gives us a 6 or below score, we immediately reach out and just acknowledge, like, hey, we're hearing you. And it's amazing what that'll do. Even like, someone who's had a really bad day with a 0 tells you, your product is terrible and it's ruining my life or something like that, and you reply and they said, oh, wow, you're there. I'm sorry. I was just having a bad day, and now there's a connection there. So you can really, turn these people around. So that's the last point I have. And also special offer for Twist viewers. If you do want to try 15.5, we have a 14-day trial. You can email twist at 15.5 and we'll credit you back your first month if you do become a customer.
Oh, wow, very nice. So let's talk about the lemonade from lemons.
Yeah.
The experience of detractors sort of responding and saying, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to flame you. I was having a bad day. Are there some times when you interact with a person and they're just perennially upset at you, they're just never going to be happy, and you fire that customer and just say, you know what, enough, this person is just never happy.
Yeah.
We're never going to make them happy, yet they still keep using the product for some bizarre reason, but they're just like a complainer. What do you do with those people? Because I know they exist in the world. There's some people who, take Uber every day, but they're constantly complaining about every little detail. What are you supposed to do with those people?
That's a good question. I'm a big fan of firing customers.
Okay,
I really am, and it's.
Do you have a story about firing customers?
It's fairly rare. We just had a customer who came to us and said, look, we don't think your product's worth $5 a month. We want to pay $2, and they were a decent sized customer. And we said, look, this is we know the value of our product, and there were other elements. We had similar interactions with the customer, and they left. And about a month and a half later, they said, we've tried 3 or 4 other products, and we can't quite find what you do, and we'd like to come back. And at the price that we were standing for, right? So it was interesting. It's I think at times people might not fully value you, they don't fully get it, and in those cases, it's not always a fit, right? You want to find customers that are a fit for your brand, that you can help, that value your service.
All right, David, this has been fantastic. Craig, you have a question.
I do, yeah. It's fascinating, the distinction that you have between customer success and customer support. Yeah. I mean, how do you differentiate those types of hires when you're bringing them on? How do you know somebody's going to be successful in one of those roles, and do they overlap?
Yeah, it's a great question. So customer support people tend to be in a responsive role. They're constantly responding to inbound requests, and we want someone who is, efficient and fast and pleasant, and can get people kind of the rudimentary information that's they're almost like a traffic cop in ways of like routing them. If there's a bigger issue, it gets passed on to someone on the customer success team. And then the customer success team, we have people who really are more relationship builders. So their job is to really get to know the customer deeply about their needs, what they're trying to accomplish, and then can help synthesize how does the product fit into that. And we segment different roles. We have one person who handles the first 100 days, one person who handles the ongoing relationships, and one person who handles upsells and upgrades. And then they're slightly different mindsets for each of those. So we actually have 5 out of our 18, so about 27% are in customer success and support. Oh. Yeah, and then in sales we have 1 currently.
Wow.
Yeah.
So the product,
we've built an inbound business. We're only just now building out sales, and for the first 3 years, all we focused on was product and customer success.
Right. Because you have a very new, innovative product,
right,
where people are reporting back in 15 minutes to their manager, who reviews the product in 5 minutes. People wonder what the name 15.5 is. Right. Each employee gets to spend 15 minutes every week giving a little bit of a review of their week, how things went.
Yep.
And the manager spends only 5 minutes reviewing it, but it's such a lightweight 15.5 process that when I had a 100-person company, as you know, I was using it.
Yep.
And it was fantastic because we found out which people in the organization hated working for us.
Right.
Like literally, we started using this, and one person just wrote, like, I hate my time here. I dread coming to work. And we were like, well, why is that? And they're like, well, I just don't want to do this career. And we're like, okay, do you want to segue out? And we're like, yeah, I do. I'm like, okay. Anytime you want to do that? And then somebody was like, oh my God, so if you're supposed to put in your honest feelings? I'm like, yes, put in your honest feelings. If you honestly don't want to work here, that's okay to say.
Yeah.
But you know, sometimes young people have a hard time expressing themselves, or introverts.
Sure.
And this happened to be a young person who was also an introvert, which meant I don't think they really had the ability to. Do you have a lot of stories like that where people are wildly honest inside the system than they wouldn't be in person?
It's the consistent thing I hear from our customers is like, I don't understand why people tell me things in 15.5 that they wouldn't tell me to my face. And we hear it over and over again. And I think that for introverts, you know, it takes away the social anxiety of being face-to-face or being in a group meeting. They can take time to reflect. And usually that honesty leads to more trust and connection and better relationships and better teams.
I know it made me a better manager when I used it because I didn't realize that there were people who were afraid to tell me what they were thinking or what was actually really happening.
Yep.
So there was a whole thing when the organization got to 100 people where a group of people were trying to manage how to tell me information.
Exactly.
So there was like a layer of management between people who were like, this is not working.
Yep. And
the manager, and you know, basically bracing Jason for the eventuality that he'll find out that this project is not going to work. Like, and then when you start using 15.5, somebody's like, yeah, we did all this, but I don't think it's going to actually result. So some low-level person, you know, rank and file, you know, in the trenches, just gave it up at one point. I was like, this project's not working.
Exactly. Well, there's an adage that says bad news travels slowly for that very reason. And so we're about, you know, kind of making bad news travel quickly.
All right, listen, I'm a big fan of 15.5. Obviously, I invested in it and great thoughts on customer success. Okay, next up is Mei Siauw, who is the founder of LeadIQ. You went through the launch incubator, and you've got a wonderful product that helps people find leads. That's why it's called LeadIQ.
That's right.
And we use it. We love it. It's amazing for us to quickly find leads off of LinkedIn and AngelList and Crunchbase and a bunch of other places. And you're going to talk about your 3 rules for customer support and success.
That's right.
So take it away, Mei.
Thank you, Jason. So hi, everyone. My name is Mei. As Jason says, we are at LeadIQ. We work with sales team and marketing team, building, helping them to build lists of prospects and running outbound campaign. So at LeadIQ, we focus on customer success. I think David there touches really well on what's the difference between customer success and customer support. We have 3 rules for everyone in the company who is basically facing customers. 3 simple rules that we will go every single one and give examples on how we do it within our company. The first rule is wow customers with unexpected surprise. We learned this from the company with the best customer success service in the world, actually, Zappos. Everyone knows Zappos, how they're really famous with their customer success. So one thing that Zappos do, every time there's a new customer who ordered their first product, they automatically upgrade their shipping to become an overnight shipping. But they didn't tell the customers about it. When the customer check out the product, they think that the product will arrive between 5 to 7 business days. Imagine their surprise when the product arrived at their doorstep the next day. They're really wowed by their experience. So the key thing that we learned there is that when you do good things for your customers, do it with a surprise. If you tell them when they're checking out that it's going to be upgraded to an overnight shipping, the effect will be less than when they don't know that you're going to do that, and then they actually see it happen. Wow. And it really wowed them and turned them to become really loyal customers. We learned from that, and we tried to do a similar tactic within LeadIQ, where we always try to give positive surprises, do some things going above and beyond when customers do not actually expect that. If you're just doing things that are expected, it's kind of like expected now. Every company have to do a good customer service, right? But going above and beyond is the where you can actually stand out and be the leader of the pack. So one example was our product is a freemium product where people can just create a free account and use LeadIQ with a certain amount of credits. We discovered one customer who has found a way to really maximize the use of LeadIQ by creating 8 different accounts with 8 different emails. So we caught that and we called him to, hey, let's have a call. So the customer would probably expect that we will, hey, what's going on? Maybe ask him to upgrade or ask him to start paying, right? But instead, we told him, the fact that you have so many accounts with us, you must have really loved us. Otherwise, you will not be using us, right? We don't want you to go through that much trouble. You have to switch accounts in order to use the credits. Why don't we just give you this amount of credits in your one account? Feel free to use it. In exchange, we want you to give us feedback on why you love it and help to refer us to your friends. You know, why you love us so much. And he was really wowed by that. He didn't expect that at all, that we would actually give him free credits when we found that out. So the next few weeks, he brought us so many, he sent direct introductions to a lot of his sales friends and people, and he's been bringing us so many leads. Within the next 6 weeks, we got like at least 5 to 10 leads where he's just been telling his friends, I'm using LeadIQ, check it out. And then that really turns into like really high quality and converting leads. So that's one example when we just try to go above and beyond and what will make him happy. Every time
turned a shoplifter into a sales executive.
That's
brilliant.
right.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
You love the product enough to steal it. Why don't you sell it for us?
Right, exactly.
Did you offer him a full-time job as a salesperson yet? Because I think maybe it's a next step.
Maybe that's the next step. You're right.
Continue.
Exactly.
This is great. Sorry to interrupt.
So the next one is we give them surprise features. Sometimes, like a lot of customers give us product feedback, and some of them are actually on our roadmap, but we don't tell them about it. We take notes, and then we surprise them. Sometimes we didn't tell them, oh, okay, that's really good feedback. We'll work on it, and then we send them a personal notes when the feature is there. Hey, you told us that you wanted these features. Now this feature is here, and they're really delighted by that. They really like it that we remember. I always send a personal notes. Thank you for those feedback. That's really useful. Now it's here. And they're always like, amazing. I love seeing how quickly you're acting on my feedback. They feel they're heard. They are part of that. We try to surprise people with features. Typically when our customers give us feature feedback, sometimes the feature is already on our roadmap, but we don't tell them about it. And then when we release it, we try to surprise them. Hey, you asked us these features 2 weeks ago. We work on it. And here it is. It's available for you to try tomorrow. And they're really wowed by it. They are wowed because we remember to actually touch base with them. Like that, they are actually the one who requested that feature, and now it's here. It has really helped us to turn free users to become paying customers, actually. Because in our early days, our product was still immature. We don't have many functionalities. But the fact that we keep them in the loop, we tell them the roadmap, and we always touch base with them. They believe in the team, and they believe in our ability to deliver, even though we don't have that feature yet, but they know that we will work on it. That's really big thing in how we are able to like win customers in our early days, actually. And then we also surprise them with Christmas gift. Our individual paying customers are typically paying $50 a month. Most of them actually are paying out of pocket, because some of them expense it to their company, but some salespeople just like, I'll just pay for this. So we really appreciate that when people told us that, oh, I'm paying out of pocket for this. We send them like a Christmas gift, like it's just $10 for us, and then ship it to them. But they really love it. They like that. I think there's not too many like SaaS products that actually send Christmas gift to customers. We were actually, one of our friends told us, is that even legal? But we believe like if it's nominal enough, why not? So that's how, and we always try to think, how can we surprise our customers? What kind of like nice gestures can we do? So that's rule number 1, where everyone who's basically facing with customers always try to do that. Give them surprises, something that they don't expect. Rule number 2 is that give customers your time. That's the most important thing. They actually love getting personal attention. So in our drip campaign, when every new users, just free users, sign up on LeadIQ, we send drip campaigns. On the first email, we offered, if you would like to schedule a personal demo walkthrough, here is my calendar link. Feel free to grab a 30-minute slot. And people actually love that. And we have seen when people book the demo walkthrough, 50% of them convert to become paying customers. Versus the people who don't go through the walkthrough, only 10% converted. So the demo walkthrough is really, we're trying now like more ways into getting more people into going through the walkthrough, because we see that we have the video demo too, but people just won't watch it. But when they sign up for a walkthrough, the time is put into their calendar. It's easy enough. It's a 10, 15 minutes of passive thing of just like watching a personal demo, and they like it, and it's easier for them. So what we have learned is that try to give time and like just get to know your customers. I think David touches on this too. The third thing is share your skills, right? The fact that we are doing this every day, we are helping so many customers with their outbound campaign. We learn a lot of best practices, we learn a lot of tips. So one customer here contacted us and gave a screenshot of his campaign where he contacted 50 people. He sent this screenshot because he complained there are 2 emails that bounced. But what we saw is that, look at his reply rate. He got a 0 response rate. So he didn't mention anything about that. He was just disappointed that the campaign was not working. He had the bounce. But we noticed the response rate and we say, hey, do you want us to help you with the email content? Maybe your email content can be improved. And he was like, hey, that's an awesome service. Yes, of course. He sent us his emails, what he has been sending his customers. We noticed that the email is very long and long-winded. This is the original email. And we help him rewrite it to become much, much tighter and shorter and to the point. And we are also going to do a live event, prospecting bootcamp, next month in San Francisco. It's a 3-hour event where salespeople, SDR, we are inviting our customers first. And then anyone else who are not our customers are welcome to also apply. We'll see if we have seats. We can include them into where we'll have actually sales expert, people who knows how to write and craft cold email page. And then basically, this is touching on the same concept that David has. We are trying to help our customers successful with their business, not just with our product. The email content is not really part of our business, but it's an essential thing to make our product to be successful too. If they can't write a good email and their campaign doesn't work, they don't really need the email addresses. So it ties together and we want them to be successful. So to summarize, this is our 3 rules that everyone in the company that are basically interacting with customers just need to remember. Like, give them unexpected surprises, give them time, and share your skills, what you know about that. And that has really worked well with us, like in terms of retention. We have like very low retention with teams, like less than 1%. So that's it from our side. And if anyone is interested to try out LeadIQ and build lists, we have our own promo code too. Use TWIST and you will be good to go.
Okay, so great presentation. You can't make features fast enough for every client request. How do you decide when a feature is just not something that you're going to do simply to delight somebody in a one-off fashion versus, hey, we're going to speed up this feature because we know it's going to delight a person?
That's a very good question, actually. So we keep track of spreadsheet in-house where every time a customer's mention the features, we'll keep track of them in a spreadsheet and in a Trello card. And then we see if enough customers mention about it, then we know that's actually an important features. Then we'll start prioritizing it. But then after that, we'll make it sound like, okay, we do that because of that.
Now that you see writing the email is a key part of the success of people using the LeadIQ product to get leads, have you thought about productizing the writing of the email?
Yes, we actually have thought about that. We are thinking of like building an email wizard, which can teach people how to write a good email. It will cut your email if it's too long. It will be like Twitter. There's a 140 character limit. We can limit it to maybe just like some words. You can't type beyond that. And then we'll teach you like first sentence should be about the person. It should be a customized sentence that's different of a person. We are actually like planning that feature out right now.
Interesting. Very cool. All right, well, that was fantastic. Okay, now, last up, Craig Zingerline is with us, and he is from Votion, which you were at Red Tricycle, which is a company I invested in that went through the incubator. And you're the only person who's come back to the incubator with his own company after having gone there with Jackie's company, Red Tricycle. Now, you built Red Tricycle to over 1 million emails, and you were the growth person there. Now you're doing Votion, which is helping marketers grow their engagement on their sites. And what are you going to talk to us about today?
So I'm going to talk about customer-driven development and how we prioritize items based on feedback and use that for growth.
Is that a fancy way of saying learning from your customers?
Exactly.
Or listening to your customers?
Yeah. Okay, so in the onboarding email for our trial campaigns, for example, I mentioned a couple of things. Asking users what a successful trial would look like for them opens up a dialogue, so we can actually reply back to that and ensure success. And then just mentioning that we read and reply to everything regarding the campaign. We're really trying to set the example that we're here, that we're listening, and that we're going to be very responsive to them. And so really the touch points at all points of the life cycle have to be on point, and you really need to be responsive. So that's tip number one. And with that email, with that trial campaign email, we're seeing about a 60% open rate and 22% click-throughs. But we're often hearing goals and aspirations, some random tidbits that the client responds to here and there, but most importantly, KPIs and the metrics that they're actually using to base.
Define KPI.
So a KPI is a goal or a metric that is the primary reason why they're actually engaging with us. And so it might be to increase page views or to get in front of 1,000 new users. And so that's the metric, key performance indicator. And so we've really leveraged this type of input for ways to create more dialogues with our clients. Our cost point is a little bit higher. And so we're really trying to build that relationship early on. In addition to always being responsive, we've learned that saying sorry when we mess up is okay. And a few others here have touched on this, but being human is critical. And so we have an internal rule of getting back to clients, regardless of what the question is, within 15 minutes. Even if we don't know the answer, we set the expectation that every 30 minutes you're going to hear from us. Even if we still don't have the answer, every 30 minutes or whatever that cadence is the interval at which we'll relay back information, whatever we have to them. And so that works for a while if you're having critical issues, which we had early on. In fact, we had our first enterprise client. We had massive issues that were impacting all their campaigns, and we had built enough trust through this methodology that not only did they continue to use the service, but they've actually renewed at a much higher rate.
I like the, we'll get back to you every 30 minutes until this is resolved. It makes me feel like, oh, they're obsessing, and this really matters to them, and they understand that it really matters to me. In some cases, I might be like, please don't respond to me every 30 minutes.
We've heard that.
Just tell me when it's done.
We've heard that before,
right.
But we rather,
overdo it,
and over-communicate.
It's sort of like when you send the steak back and then they bring it to you and they just wait for you to taste it and just make sure it's your liking. You're like, I'm sure it's going to be to my liking. Yeah. It's fine. Right?
That's right.
Right. Over-servicing is great.
And next up, ask for feedback. And so, as Jill had mentioned around NPS scores, those are awesome. And we try to take that and also go on the in-person or phone-based interviews where we're asking specific questions. For example, what's on your wish list? Or what are you struggling with? And we really are looking for candid input. Or what about the product is making you mad right now, and how can we improve? And so it's kind of taking a more qualitative approach to some of the inputs that we're getting, and we found that we really learn a lot. And so from that feedback, we'll actually build features. So a lot of our features, I would estimate 30 to 40%, come directly from ideas that our clients have. And in fact, we've built entire products based on customer input. And what we've found that this lets us do is pre-sell products to customers that have a tangentially related problem or need with a product that we want to test before we build it. It allows us to upsell and cross-sell features. And so we can work different tiers of pricing based on that. And so a really quick example is we were this week on a call with a client, and they had this really interesting idea. These are the raw notes from the conversation that my partner Steve had, but this was talking about post-engagement sharing. And this is from the client's mouth. Like, this is what the client was saying they wanted. And so we will look at this, and it's a social sharing add-on that we're going to build, and then we task it out and we build based on that feedback. And what's cool about that is we actually start to unlock growth across our client base from that, because now we can go across our entire client base and survey them to see, is this something that you would sign off on or buy? Would it add value to your, your day-to-day? And if enough people say yes, if it's above 60 or 70%, then it makes sense to really dive in and invest in that feature. And we've also seen that customer happiness and customer success really helps us increase our annual recurring revenue and renewal rates when we're in close contact with our clients. And that doesn't have to wait until the contract is up. We've done that mid-contract where they've had an idea, we've executed on it, and we renew the contract at that point and go from there. And then lastly, once you have this relationship, ask for referrals. And so, we've done anything from just, given a percentage referral fee to adding free time onto the end of their contract if they refer us to other people who might be interested in it. And we're kind of exploring that now as we go. And thanks. We're also doing a free trial for 30 days if you go to votion.co/twist.
Okay, well done. So how do you know when you're talking to a client that they're serious about a feature, or if they're just happen to be just responding to your prompts, these prompting emails of what could be better, what's on your wish list, what's on your punch list? How do you know they're actually serious and would actually use the product? Because they might give you a suggestion, you go spend 3 months building it, and then they don't actually use it.
Yeah, that's a great question.
How do you test there?
Well, we hear a lot of horrible ideas.
Huh? Yeah, what do you do in that case?
You kind of just, you take it seriously and you put it in a backlog and maybe you spend 30 seconds analyzing it with your team, or maybe you kill it there. But, you give them some feedback in real time that, that might be a little far out of what we're looking to do in the next 6 months, but we'll keep it in our, we'll keep it.
So sort of like saying we'll put a pin in it.
We'll put a pin in it,
You put a pin in it.
And sometimes those things actually come back. Like what's a horrible idea right now might not be a horrible idea in 6 months, right? And so I think it's important not to just blatantly kill it.
David, you have a question for Craig.
Yeah, so Craig, I'm curious, how do you decide who to interview and on what cadence when you're doing those customer interviews?
Usually it's around some kind of usage transition where we see, and we generally do that for our larger clients. And also if they're local, that makes it really easy. But there's really nothing better than actually sitting in a room with your client. You just get such a different dialogue going. And so, we're pretty, we don't do that for every client, but we'll kind of pick and choose.
Awesome. This has been an amazing jam session, our first jam session, and we would love to get feedback from you, our loyal This Week in Startups audience. You can always email me, jason@launch.co, and put comments underneath the video, etc. You can find me on Twitter @Jason or @TWI Startups is our Twitter handle. We're also on the Instagram thing that the kids are using now, @Jason @TWI Startups as well. Thanks, Jill. Great feedback and talk. David, Mei, and Craig. Excellent. Well done. And thanks to our friends over at Salesforce for making our first jam session possible. We'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.